Now that is a shameless plug. So yeah, Nkosi and I are very excited about the book. Um, it really came together so fast. It was like writing itself. Like I would look down and go, "Oh my God, look at this material." It would just sort of flow beautifully. Um, and the last chapter, chapter 15, Nkosi talks about something that I haven't heard him really talk about before. And it struck me as, wow. Just a second, let me let Peter in. And Zoe. So in section 15 of the new book, just this, Nkosi talks about the mind being 100% imagination. Look at that. Don, you physically recoiled. Look at that. The mind finds that so distasteful. Just, no, don't tell me I'm imagined. But that all is imagined, that can resonate, that all is imagined. It's imagined because there's nobody in there. They're not really little people in that scenario. It's just an imagination saying that this, that, and the other is important. And it's all imagined. There's just this. There's just this. Just what's sitting here. Sounds, my voice, being together on Zoom. And there's nothing wrong with those stories. And that's, I think, where we get into trouble, because we get involved with them and we think we have to change them or fix them. And that's not the message here. This message is not about changing or fixing anything. It's saying that everything already is okay. You know, for so long, Tim Cliff would say something, and if I'm being honest, it did ruffle a little bit here, because he would say, well, even if it's not okay, it's still okay. Mm-hmm. But I know what he means now. Yes, changing the flat tire could seem annoying, but it's okay. Everything's okay, despite what the mind says. So that's the beauty of that section on the mind being imagined. It's all imagined, even including the mind. Everything's imagined. There's just imagination. And it's not going to stop. It's the endless. This is the dream, the Maya. And the thing is, when it's taken seriously, yeah, when it's taken seriously, that's the suffering. When that seeker, when I claim that I'm that seeker, you're not that seeker, you're not anything. Which is then the space or the freedom for everything. So everything here is equally it. There's nothing more it or less it. And that kills the seeking, if nothing is more it or less it.
I was just about to ask if there's any free will. Um, it might seem a little random, but it kind of what you had said made me think of that. But I guess there's no one to which to have free will would be the
Ding,
response,
ding,
right?
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's subtle. It's subtle because it's not saying there's no free will. It's not saying that. It's saying there's no one to have it. So it's the same with choices. There's the appearance of choices. You open up the refrigerator, you appear to choose something from the fridge. So there is an appearance, but there's no one behind the appearance. Or we could say it's empty. Everything is empty. So that's its beauty, is its fragility. The fact that everything is fleeting is, you know, how many ever seen those like Zen monks that live up in the mountains in China and they spend like, I don't know, 3 months or some, ungodly amount of time with grains of sand, constructing the most beautiful, right? Have you guys know what I'm talking about? The little,
Mandela.
the painting, the detail, grain by grain, stunning. And after the end of the 8 weeks, or I forget how long the whole thing is, what happens at the end? What do they do?
Blow it away.
Yeah, that's part of the joy. Is after they like gave it their best, they destroyed it with their hands. They just to show the impermanence, to show that there's nothing here that you can hold on to, and there's no you to hold on to it. Hey, Peter, you look like Buddha. So this is an open meeting. Everybody's invited to participate. If you have a comment or question, feel free to unmute and jump in.
ever since I started learning about this teaching, uh, I've had one question in particular that is kind of keeps coming up in my mind, or sort of. um, and that is this God? Could we say that this is God, or
Yeah,
where is God, I
yeah,
guess?
yeah. I was actually saying that yesterday. Someone invited me to there was a Mexican family below that invited me to their barbecue, their 4th of July. Actually, I invited myself. I said, boy, that sure smells good. Okay, come over. And they go to church and God is their language. So they were asking me about my new book, right? They're asking me, they're like, well, right, what's just this about? And I said, well, it's about God. It's about everything is God. And they were like, oh. So because I don't care the word. What does it
Right.
matter? God, wholeness, totality, this. It's not the word. We don't know what it is.
I guess it mattered in my mind because if God was still some kind of being, then is God judging? I guess there's no one for God to judge. I guess I never really thought about it like that, but you know, there's a lot of emphasis put on like our actions, and we should do this and that and be moral. And I know I get a lot of self-criticism in my head about, trying to be the best self I can be. And there's a lot of frustration I get from that, just towards myself. But I guess I can remind myself that there can't be any judgment being passed, right? If there's ultimately only God, so God wouldn't judge himself. So
Well, judgments can and do seem to arise. They do arise, judgments. But they don't mean anything. They don't touch God. They don't touch this. This doesn't care what the thought is. So you're always hearing Nkosi say that. If somebody says, oh, I really love this. Oh, I don't get this. This is so confusing. It doesn't matter because it's both this. So that's why the message here, Tyler, is there's nowhere to get, because all is this. And this is my favorite word, right? My favorite word is already. So there's no one there to do anything or not do anything already.
It's also part of the story, right? So God, like Michael's pointing to God, this, whatever word, it's just a word. It's a concept. It's all part of the story. And the story, there's a story about a woman in the 1930s, Michael, was that what it was? The turtles all the way down?
Oh, yeah.
Is that a teaching similar to this, but it's like in the early 1900s, and the teacher's trying to explain that it's all story, and she pops up in the teaching and she says, it's turtles all the way down, meaning like every a turtle is a story, and then it's just stacked all as far as you can dig down. Everything that we believe, the judgment, the teachings of various religions, like those are all stories that people grab onto. But the point here is that there's not even a person to grab onto it. Like it's just what happens. It's just what's happening.
That makes me think of the Russian dolls. You open one up, you see another. You open another one up, you see another. You open up another, you see another.
So all words are concepts. That includes mind is a concept, or God is a concept, or this is a concept. And why? Why am I? Because right now, can you find something called the mind? Take a look.
Well, it's like you can't locate the mind physically, but maybe it can be located by thinking, by the thinking.
Where's the thinking located?
Well, it's not located physically, because it seems like that the question is, where is it located physically? But it's not located physically. It's located. Well, you know, I guess you'd say it's not locatable in that way.
Or not locatable in any way. Not
Why-
locatable.
Why would you say that though?
Well, locatable is physical.
Oh.
And there's no physical location. So there's no location. That's not, I mean.
Right, but that doesn't mean there's no thinking or no mind.
Mhm.
Just because it's not locatable.
It's a physical, sorry, it's a philosophical problem. What exists and what doesn't exist. And it's a tough question. You know, when Michael asks, is there a mind? Is there a me? Can you find it? Yeah, I come up with the answer, no, I can't find it. And however, Don, I totally get what you're saying is, well, does the fact that you don't find it mean it doesn't exist? It gets very complicated on that level. Philosophically, it's, you know, turtles all the way down.
Yeah,
And-
turtles all the way down is just meaning concepts all the way down. Like every story, you're only going to get more words, more story. So your story gets to story. So let's tell a new story. Oh, now we can tell a story. And there's nothing wrong with stories. They're beautiful. The stories are this too, but they're not beautiful when they're taken to be my stories.
There's no foundation to any concept or any story or anything is the idea. And Michael said a minute ago that this is God. And then I wanted to ask, well, Michael, are you saying that, oh, well, is it true that, or not true that this isn't God? I think if you say this is God, you could also say this is not God. There's no,
Yeah, I said
none
the
of
word.
those are landing places. Yeah,
I said the word didn't matter. I
right.
think you could call it God or this or shoe or.
Right, and you're also presupposing that there is things, separate things, you know, and at some point this meeting was being described as a non-dual meeting, meaning there isn't separate things. It's all wholeness. So then nothing really exists in that sense. Things don't exist.
And then we could also say things exist. Because there is nothing is limiting any of these stories. The stories can appear, but they don't have any grounding to them, any solidity or any, they're just going down and down all the way down, more and more turtles. Yeah, endless turtles.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, Erica, please.
This might come off sounding really ignorant, but what does a person who understands and internalizes non-duality versus someone who just goes about their life as they feel like it? What do those two people look like? You know, what is the comparison? Because I'm finding that I don't understand why I would be seeking to further my knowledge in this versus just going about my day like I'm just gonna do whatever the frick I want to do, you know?
Yeah,
That's just my question.
great question.
Michael, this is like your last post that you just made. Or question is that you just made a post about it. Anyway, go ahead.
Can you state your question again, Erica?
What is the difference between someone who is internalizing non-duality and the understanding of it versus someone who's just going about their life, just doing whatever they want.
Okay. Yeah, they're both this. So there is no difference. And neither one is better than the other.
If I could throw in my 2 cents on that, I think you know, someone who studies non-duality is you know, I find it to be true, and I think things that are true are important to me personally, in the small sense of me. But yeah, I think what Michael was saying there is, you know, you shouldn't feel like you're forced into studying this. Like if I didn't study this, something bad would happen to me. That's not the case at all. In fact, you could never have heard of this and you'd be in the exact same boat as someone who had heard of this. But the thing that is important is that it's true. In some sense, that is hard to grasp, but that's kind of the nature of it all. When I was first joined my first meeting last time, I had a question about is this something that can be experienced? And me personally, I still think it is, even though there's no one in which to experience it. In some sense, there is some kind of experience one can have that will prove the validity of these kinds of non-dual teachings. At least that is what a lot of them claim is the case. And I would even claim that I've had such an experience like that. That is, you know, and there was no looking back after that. It was like, this is very much true. And in some sense, for me at least. So hopefully that is a good response too.
I also think, if I could just add in, that we're talking about turtles all the way down, and it's all concept. Like even the idea of non-duality is a concept. Like what we're sitting here talking about concepts and story. It's just more story we're adding on to it. So to that extent, and just to answer Erica's question for this non-me here, once I grokked this, to use one of Michael's favorite words also after already, but once I grokked this teaching, like I really like got it, it brought a sense of peace and calm, like any story though. Like I could have found that through religion. I could have found that through smoking dope. Like, you know, there could be a lot of ways. This happened to be the way that worked for, you know, this story works for me.
That's fascinating, Joe, because I was going to jump in because I love Erica's question as well. And so what came up here was that the person that is, you know, I would call the one that is studying non-duality or pursuing that approach, I would say that's a seeker, or it's somebody who thinks they want to get somewhere. Maybe they're not happy, or maybe they read books about enlightenment or awakening, and so their whole life is now dedicated to reach that liberation. And so I think it's, well, as a generality, it's the expectation of feeling better. It's the expectation of ecstasy and fulfillment, or for people that are into karma and reincarnation and all that, they may think it's the ultimate liberation when they're no longer required to come back. And yes, as Joe said, I mean, it's all stories. It's ultimately, or Michael said earlier, it's all the same. But relatively speaking, it's the person pursuing these goals. It's also based on the idea that there is someone here that, you know, needs to accomplish something, or that needs a purpose, or it's a belief in meaning, that there is meaning, and we have to figure it out, and we can't be happy, or if we figure it out, then we're happier, then we're no longer puzzled or seeking, and so on and so forth. I don't know if that helps, but you know, I've been attending these meetings now for, I don't know, maybe 2 years or something, and it feels like what's being seen is that, yes, it's all stories, and another one of the overreaching concepts here is it cannot be explained, it cannot be figured out. There's nobody that can figure it out, and so that brings a certain relaxation with it, or a letting go of seeking or thinking. You know, it's there's a certain pleasantness with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I had a discussion with Nkosi some time ago, and I had shared with him some of my experiences, and we had talked about that. And of course, the I can't have experiences in a sense of this. But he said, because that is all who we are, that the light or whatever it is, that which I am, can't be through. And why wouldn't it? At different times, it's not like I have an experience, but that which we are is always there, and that is available anytime. So that could maybe clearly show through for 2 minutes, or whatever it is. And that just makes total sense to me, that while I can't experience it, it itself can come through. I don't know, I hope that any of that makes any sense, because it does to me.
Yeah, it did very well.
Hey, I was just gonna say, I think not whatever question you called it when you started asking it. I mean, I think it's almost like what an astute observation. It's like, because there's absolutely no difference. There's no, how can there, you know, that's what like this message is like the great leveler. It just takes the specialness out of everything, which makes it, you know, even more enjoyable. Like Michael was saying, you know, like, let me go hang out with these people who talk in this language. It doesn't matter. Anyway, was that what you were getting at, Erica, that you're seeing that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nowhere to get to. It's all good.
Nice, Zoe. Yeah, it just, you know, it just kills, because, oh, I'm so special, I'm spiritual seeker. It's such bullshit. It's the body, whether the body is meditating, golfing, arguing, smoking a joint, whatever. It's all this. There's only this. So it could be doing anything you can imagine.
Yeah, I would say, like, similar to what Michael is saying, you know, I find myself doing things that I wouldn't do when I was a spiritual seeker and I had to, you know, sit my certain number of minutes or do whatever, you know. It's like, oh, Yeah, I went to a Mormon temple the other day. That Mormon temples actually have, I never knew this, but somehow it popped up. This friend of mine was like, oh, they open up for like a month after they build the Mormon temple. It was freaking amazing. It was like walking into another movie. Anyway.
Yeah, that's one of the things that sets this meeting apart, right? Because like you were saying, like any group, any organized religion is going to have rules. They're going to have rules, things you're supposed to do, things you're not supposed to do. They all have them. Thou shalt not, and thou shalt. There's no rules to life. Life doesn't have a book that it's going by. It's too fresh. It's too spontaneous. It's only now. There's nothing called a past. You can't find it. Look now for something called the past. You won't find it.
You'll find it in imagination, right?
Well, you can find anything in imagination, right? I could find Casper the Friendly Ghost in imagination.
And I was going to throw in that the me is uncomfortable with all that, because the me likes linear stuff, likes, you know, identification and definitions, and it likes something to hang their hat on, structures. So this is kind of like a free fall experience, and it rattles the me because it can't really survive in that, you know, environment very well.
Well, that's what the me would have you believe. But something that doesn't exist, that something's imagined, there's nothing to do about it, right? That's that little joke that Nkosi would do. What would you do if, imagine there's a lion right behind you right now, and he's about to bite your head off. What would you do? His point is nothing, because the lion's imagined. Now, you could freak out and get scared, and that would be this too.
That was the next level joke. That was really good.
The mind operates in hypotheticals. You know, it's all hypothetical.
Because that's where it lives.
Yeah, so there are no rules, and this Zoom meeting is hypothetical. It isn't happening. It doesn't exist. It's not as this Zoom meeting, but it's appearing as a Zoom meeting, which we could call a story. And just like all of us, each of us, you know, has an appearance of a person, a me, you know, who came to a Zoom meeting and now is here and is listening, and that story is also a story of wanting to get it and wanting to, you know, understand or be free or whatever it is, whatever that sense of that story, you know, wherever it's going, that's the story.
Right, Dan. Or hang out with folks who kind of dig the same stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you can say something and somebody is going to like nod or smile, or, you know, so company, or
or want to come to laugh and enjoy and have fun, or be serious and get the answer, or whatever it is. I mean, all these stories are showing up, and, you know.
Well, the answer, you know, that is very discouraged all the time. So that most people get that pretty quick, that the answers are not available.
Well, yeah, except that the me really doesn't get that. And so this me that is here in the meeting, in the story, really isn't getting that, because it can't. That's just the way the story is, you know. The story that actually isn't happening. There is no story. There is no meeting. There is no anything. Because for it to be a thing means there'd be a stopping point. There'd be a place for the turtles to land. So we're so-called in the soup of all of this together. All the yeses and all the nos. Hmm. So, you know, so yeah, there is, you know, like as Tyler was saying, you know, the sense of, well, this is, I'm onto some truth here, and this is really important and really valuable. And that we can't throw that away, really, because in the story, that is, you know, that is something. And
Yes.
but at the same time, it's not.
Yes, I do admit on a I don't know if personal note is the right way to, it's not a good word here, but you know what I mean. You know, attending these type of meetings, the belief is that attending these type of meetings will rub off more and more, and eventually, you know, I'll be happier, or I'll be less frustrated about certain things, or, you know. So yes, the me, or whatever is left of it, definitely sees some benefit from showing up here.
Yep. That's the story that's appearing.
Right.
Yeah, there would have to be in me in order to get benefit.
Where was that? Where was that?
So that's what this meeting is all about, is there's already no me to get benefit or no me to not get benefit. No me to be shut out. No, you're not good enough to be enlightened. I'm sorry, maybe next lifetime. There's nothing like that. Unless it's imagined to be the case.
Well, the me is also this. So the me looking for getting better is this.
Yes.
So it's very, very valuable, very perfect.
You keep defending that, huh?
Absolute, forever.
Because they keep pulling that rug underneath. They keep pulling the rug. And then somebody will come and say, no, yes, it's this too. It's this too.
But Peter, it doesn't matter, because it's like the Terminator. It just reconstitutes itself.
I mean, just getting better is this. Getting better is this.
Right, but you know, I mean, that's the big myth, is getting better is the big myth.
Why?
As if
Why?
well, as if
Again.
what isn't enough. What is always missing things. So it's like this striving to get better.
What is the myth? The myth is what is. The
Right.
myth is this. So you
Yeah.
can't dismiss the myth.
I'm
at
not
all.
dismissing it. I'm
Sounds like it.
labeling
Where's
it.
my circus music?
That's funny. Yeah. Yeah.
No.
No, I'm gonna try this just for fun. So most of my life, I always felt like I gotta strive, I gotta do more, I gotta, find a new place to live. I need a better partner, and I need more money. And so that's like pursuing more happiness, let's say, on a simple basis. And wherever you find it, chocolate, sex, whatever it is. And on the other hand, sometimes there is this experience, it's perfectly fine the way it is. It is just what it is. And there is a certain peacefulness and relaxation that comes with that. Where all of a sudden, no, I don't have to push, I don't have to struggle, I don't, and not that there's anything wrong with it, just to be sure, Don. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm, and then you can say, well, is there, or Erica asked earlier, is there a difference between like, just being and going about your life and just dealing with what's showing up versus pursuing a particular path and reaching particular goals? And then in the end, Michael is going to say, it doesn't matter. It's all this.
No, this is going to say that.
I guess I really hold on to this one particular type of story where all of these non-duality, if we want to use that word, type teachings, I hold on to the story that they were all pointing towards something.
Yeah.
And that all these pointers are trying to get you to realize something like your nose on your face, you might miss
Right.
it, but if you look in the right way, you'll see it. And then boom, you got it. And then
Yeah.
that's all they were pointing to the entire time. And what is interesting and kind of a little frightening about this teaching is that it's almost as if that is not relevant anymore. And that is what is taking me a while to grasp, I think, because that, the me is like, whoa, no way. Like all your hard work that you put in to try to figure out this and that, yeah.
Yeah, but Tyler, isn't that just another story?
It sure is, but it's one I hold on to. I see that I hold on to very tightly, but I see it for what it is, but it's still frustrating at the same time. So the story and holding on to it so tightly is frustrating. But.
Yeah, no, but I meant the story of that you just said about how, but it's all really in vain. Ultimately, it's all this that story, really doesn't mean anything.
Oh,
That's the story.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So
So
is the object to not
you
hold on
didn't
to any
lose anything.
stories?
Yeah.
Or I guess that would be a story in and of itself too. So
maybe, yeah.
There's some kind of level of somewhere in between the stories is where the magic happens. I don't know. Yeah, but that's the story too. So yeah, you could go all night with that, man. That's interesting.
And there's nothing wrong with the stories. The stories are fine. The stories are this. This is telling stories. So this is telling stories. There's no you or there's no me. So this is telling the story. And if this is telling the story, then the story sort of okay. And if you identify with that story as a me, that's got to be okay too, because that's this pretending to be me telling a story. So all that stuff that everything's okay, just as it is. The seeking has got to be okay. Totally okay. Seeking or not seeking. Maybe that gets back to Erica's question too. I don't, it's all okay. It's not just okay. I'm going to say it's perfect. I'm just elevating it because of this, because I'm elevating this as the one thing. I know it can't be elevated, but I'm saying it's elevated. And so whatever you're doing is perfect, however you're doing. And if you're a seeker, as I am, seek away. Seek, seek, seek. Or, get better, get better, get better. Get high. Do what you want to do. It's all this. It's beautiful, right? That's why I say it's beautiful. I just tune into Nkosi down there, and that beautiful face. So I hand over the gavel to Nkosi.
Michael-Nkosi.
Michael-Nkosi.
Michael.
Everyone.
We're all in agreement today. It's all beautiful.
Hey, Nkosi, have you read any good books lately?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's going to be huge. It's going to put The Godfather to shame.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah, everything is beautiful. There's no wrong or rights. There's no wrong or rights. Even a thought that says, oh, this is wrong or this is right, it's okay too. It's not wrong or right. It's just what's happening. A thought of separation is just a thought. It's nothing but a thought. Also appearing in this as this. So there's nowhere to get to. There's really nothing to be done. There's no purpose. There are no expectations here. Even that, when that seems to appear, it's just also an expression of this. It's empty as it is. The seeking itself is empty. There's no one behind it. Talking that it seems to be happening or that's happening is not directed to certain somebody. But there isn't anybody who's talking. It's just what's happening. So this is not special in a way. It's not a human being. It's not a man or a woman. It's not trying to save the world because there's no world already. Everything is it. Well, I may say it's not even an it. This is wordless, empty, and spacious. The you that's trying to find it is already it. So there isn't a real you that can actually find this. So there's no knowing this, there's no finding this, there's no finder, there's just this. It can never really be pointed to, it can never really be known, it can never really be gotten, because it's everything. Who can get everything? How can everything be known? By whom? There is only everything. There's nobody here. Something arising as somebody who's trying to find this and become this is already this appearing as that. So there's no journey. There's nowhere to get to. There's nothing here. What seems to be a separate self is already unreal. It's not there already. So it can never disappear because it never even appeared. Even when something seems to disappear, that's an illusion, because there's already nothing here. There's nobody to fall away. There's nobody to disappear already. There's just this everything. You can call it boundless energy, a blanket, a DVD player, clouds, sky, God, whatever. Doesn't really matter. This, as it is already nameless, formless and empty of any content. It doesn't require any words to be spoken for it to be what it is. It's already wordless as it is. But why is this? Why is that? There's no why. It's just what's happening. And what's happening has got nothing to do with you. As a separate self. So everything is this. So there's nobody here already. There's no meeting already. There's no one listening. There's nobody doing anything here. That's just what's happening. And what's happening is already empty. Yeah. Yeah, that's what's coming up.
Yeah, beautiful. And I could just add, what could be apart from everything to seek everything?
I want to say, listening to you and Nkosi is really a gift for me. It's a gift beyond me. Yeah, a gift beyond me. It's like I'm thinking we were talking about the word God or this or that. When I'm listening to you, the word that comes up for me is love. And it's like, it's not a love for you as a person. It's like a love of the heart to the heart, or the this to the this. And I don't know, I'm thankful. I'll use another word, I'll say thankful, love or this or God, thankful. And And it may not even be known, the thankfulness. Can't be known, but I mean, I'm saying it can be felt, but I'll ask you, what is happening here? How does the heart know itself? Oh man.
Just breathe.
Okay. Okay.
All is beautiful. All is beautiful already for nobody. Yeah. What seems to be love may appear. The harmony, joy. Yeah, but it's not appearing for somebody. It's just what seems to be happening. So it's okay. It's okay.
So all becoming is imagined. This isn't becoming anything.
Yeah, here there's thankfulness. This is probably all story, but anyway, here there's thankfulness for the message that's presented, because I was thinking the other day about what had been going on in my life before I arrived on this scene. In the spiritual teachers that I was interested in and following, and one of them had written a book called The Diamond in Your Pocket. And to me, it's so clear that the diamond in your pocket thing was still about being or doing or looking or seeking. And when I get here, we're not looking for a diamond in the pocket. Does that make sense? Because it's everything anyway, and that's a huge relief.
Beautiful. It's the diamond, it's the pocket, and it's the one speaking.
Yeah. So the mystery would be how I ever landed here. Why am I not still being a born again Christian or looking for the diamond in my pocket? Or how did I ever get here? My heart's just filled with gratitude and relief and joy and all those things, like Don. Gratefulness, yeah. How I got here, I think, I don't know, Kosi, do you think it's just a mystery or something? I don't know. It's all story anyway. Don is gone. He's going to tell me it's all story.
Yeah, it's beautiful. All stories are just an expression of this. So
Yeah.
everything is okay. Everything is okay.
because
It
it's
is-
like, oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay, go ahead. You can go ahead.
And I was just going to say, I've probably said it before, but it was like I looked here and I looked there and I looked somewhere else. You know, I looked in religion, I looked in this philosophy, I looked in there, I looked and looked, all these different places I looked. And then finally I get here and something inside knows that where I've gotten to is where I'm not moving from. Like there's nowhere else to look and there's nowhere else I want to look. That's just amazing to me.
Has anybody heard of the movie? I'm dating myself here. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Fast Times at, yeah, if you're in the 70s, you would know about it. But there was a character in there and he was giving coaching advice to a young man. He was going on a date and he was trying to build the kid's confidence. You know, he was saying, look, you have to own it because that's what matters is your energy. When you, wherever you go, hey, isn't this great? Because wherever you go, there you are. There you are. So whether you go to Hawaii or the moon or underwater, that's where you are.
Beautiful.
Any last comments or questions before we close out this evening?
Can't help but feel a sense of sadness, I think, in the spending so much time in the searching, and you know, if you think that, like, I don't know, it is just really strange. I can't even put it into words.
But Charlie, you haven't spent as much time as I have, obviously.
Yeah.
I've got wrinkles and grey hair. I've been looking longer than you, so count your lucky stars.
And with that, I hear what you say, but the searching, I've been searching for 55 years or so. And the way I look at this, the searching, which was this, has led me to this. That all of that I did and all the searching and going to this guru and and doing it all, that was perfect because that was this, led me to this. So being in this right here, right now, in it, I'm sort of in it in the moment, validates everything that has occurred before. So this validates everything else.
Thanks, Dawn. I needed that.
Yeah, that's really good, Don.
Okay.
Same kind, Tyler, I feel to share with you that I've had a feeling of sadness and even anger when this really started to resonate, because everything I thought was going on was suddenly taken away from me. So there was a transition that has been made for me. Anyway, just saying if that
Yeah.
what you're saying when you say there's sadness.
Yeah, like a grief process, I guess. When you lose something.
In a way, I think of it as like, you know, if I am this in some sense, I must have orchestrated all of this, you know. But I guess I'm not the ultimate this, so I guess I can't say that I perhaps did that, but
So in a way, feelings are just reactions to the stories that we, like the story is, I put in all this work and now I'm being told that it wasn't necessary, or it's
Yeah.
the feelings are reacting to the story. And Don would say, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's this too. So it's this too. But
Yeah, it's perfectly natural. I remember I was teaching chess after school one time, and a mother told me a story that her daughter came home from school that day and said, "Hey, Mom, what's this rumor I hear about Santa Claus?"
Mhm.
She had just found out that there was no such thing as Santa Claus, that it was all imagined. Up until that moment, Santa was a living being in her imagination. And that is exactly what the me is. And so
Maybe that's,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, Michael, I didn't mean to cut you off, man. I just had this profound thought that maybe that's what it all means is, that this doesn't want to stop telling stories, doesn't want the magic to ever go away. So it just goes on forever,
Yeah.
That's
That is beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, and Kosi's always saying that the stories are beautiful. And all these stories seem to have this to it. I mean, the quality of just this excruciating or exquisite pain, and I mean, just everything in it. Like Michael mentioned, The Godfather, or like Luke Skywalker and Star Wars. I mean, all these stories, they have all that to it. There's all this, juice of everything. So that's the story. Yeah. And who's having the story is the question.
this is having all the stories.
Nkosi, maybe you could take us out with a few words.
Yeah, there's only everything. There's nobody telling a story. There's nobody doing anything. The doer of things is already not there. So there's just what's happening. What's happening has got nothing to do with what seems to be a separate self. So there's no separate self. There's just everything. So everything is beautiful, no matter what shape or form it may appear to be. So all is this already. Yeah, that's what seems to be coming up. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, guys. Thanks to each and every one of you. We love and appreciate all of you. Nkosi, no words. Good night, everybody.
Bye all.
good
Night,
night.
everyone.
Have a good
Bye.
week.
Bye.